recording for auditing purposes. Okay. All right, can everybody see her presentation? Okay, cool. All right, Kayla, go right ahead.
Okay. Hello, I'm Kayla Reyes, and within this decade, if news and information about climate change, specifically about greenhouse gases, has been on the rise. The four common gases of greenhouse gases have been on the top of the list, but specifically carbon dioxide has been on the news and media, with activists, environmental scientists, and even political figures trying to warn the public about the dangerous effects of too much greenhouse gas within the atmosphere. And the public, as they start to learn and get more informed about these changes, has started to do their own efforts to reduce the amount of greenhouse gases they produce on a daily basis. And in but years prior, activist environmentalists has tried to warn the public about the dangers of carbon, greenhouse gas emission, climate change, and the global rise of temperature. But it was only open to recently that the public took notice of these changes and started to place their own effects to help the environment, with dozens of organizations, projects, research funds, and conversations being made in order to help the environment and find ways to protect it from further harm. For example, schools teaching students about the harm of oil and greenhouse gas and global warming. People online on places like TikTok or Facebook or Twitter encouraging others to learn about the major changes and politicians encouraging others to take a stand. So this brings my goal to discuss in this presentation. Over the last decade, the surge of carbon dioxide emissions has triggered major environmental changes, threatening ecosystems, weather stability, and human welfare. How has the dangers of these major changes affected and impacted the welfare of Earth? In order to answer this question, we must learn what greenhouse gases are. Greenhouse gases are components of four major gases: carbon dioxide, methane, nitrogen oxide, and further gas. Each of these components make up, as we know, greenhouse gas, and each are caused by different effects that us humans do, such as fossil gas emissions and CO2 release. While my project discusses primarily about carbon dioxide and its dangers, knowing and understanding the other factors of greenhouse gas is as important by learning about carbon, as climate change is caused by all four of these factors. But despite how often carbon dioxide is discussed among news and media, not many people know what exactly carbon is caused by. Carbon is caused by a number of factors, but according to the EPA, it is caused by four major factors. Transportation, the burning of oil and diesel in most modern vehicles seem to be the largest factor of CO2 release. CO2 release. The United States, known for the excessive use of gasoline, is this is caused is one of the reasons why United States release such high amounts of CO2 release each year. And the second largest factor being electricity. While as many wouldn't know, while many don't know that electricity burns fossil fuel, they do. So much, in fact, that they compute roughly 24% of greenhouse gas emissions in the United States alone. And the third largest factor is the burning of fossil fuel is for the industrial process. Due to emissions of mineral product and the production of metal, this takes up roughly 60% of the total amount of the United States. Carbon dioxide, also known as CO2, releases the largest amount of gas emissions within the atmosphere, being the cause for over 60% of global warming. Carbon dioxide is a dangerous pollutant, and the burning of fossil fuel, coal, natural gas, and oil being the main factors for its spread amongst the Earth's atmosphere, making carbon dioxide the worst and the biggest impact of climate change. And with fossil fuel being with fossil fuels being humans' main way of gaining or creating energy, it is inevitable that it is the number one cause of carbon dioxide in the air. And according to our world in data, they published a study showcasing CO2 release from fossil fuels, showing a sharp increase between the years 1940 and 1950, but this increase only seems to grow with each passing year. While the majority of fossil fuel and carbon dioxide is caused by factories and companies burning coal or oil to produce energy to run cities or to make products for us to consume, this increase of burning is simply hurting the atmosphere with toxic gas and dangerous pollutants. But CO2 does more than toxic release toxic gas into the air, it also damages and hurts us humans. CO2 is made of three different atoms, one carbon and two oxygen atoms. While the natural release of CO2 is normal, important even as it allows us humans to live day by day, too much of it is dangerous. Normally, CO2 helps trap gas into an atmosphere, keeping the Earth to be cool throughout the year and allowing the global temperatures to be still throughout the year. But due to the large increase of carbon dioxide in the air, they have become an opposite effect where the Earth becoming hotter each year by year, and the global temperature is rising, this adding to the factors of climate change. In 2022, the global temperature rose roughly 1 to 2 degrees. While this may seem small in theory, in reality this causes a huge impact to Earth. This is causing winters to be shorter and warmer, summers to be hotter and longer, and permanently affecting the Earth's atmosphere. This 1 to 2 global change is significant as it warms everything on Earth, including the ground, the oceans, and of course the atmosphere. For example, back during the Ice Age, where the Earth was covered by thousand pounds of ice and frozen water, this was all caused due to a 2-degree drop of global temperatures. And if this small temperature drop caused an ice age, imagine what a 2-degree rise can cause. These global temperatures can and have permanently changed the Earth as we know it. As I said, the annual temperatures throughout the entirety of Earth is only getting hotter and hotter with each passing year. Some places and countries reaching temperatures of 100 degrees Fahrenheit on a month-to-month basis. To say in a more modern example, Florida, known for their fairly warm temperature throughout the year, the temperature is roughly between 72 degrees Fahrenheit throughout the year. While this seems normal to this day, back then it was not always the case. Back during the years of 1995 and in the early 2000s, there was a shift of temperature where the annual degrees were raised by 2 degrees Fahrenheit. This caused Florida to have more natural disaster, caused Florida to be more humid, and causing Florida to have less rain throughout the year. And I bring this all up to address and demonstrate how hot it has gotten in the past years. Carbon dioxide plays a key role in the Earth's carbon cycle. The carbon cycle is a cycle in which air transfers throughout the atmosphere, bringing air to the entire atmosphere, bringing it to the oil, ocean, and atmosphere, then back around again. And all known living things are built off of carbon compounds, making this cycle extremely important for life and allowing Earth to run smoothly. The carbon cycle, as I said before, is the backbone of all life on Earth. Nothing would be possible without carbon dioxide in the air, and the carbon cycle, in the, without the carbon cycle. And carbon flows through every part of Earth, and any disruption to the cycle can seriously harm Earth. And I bring this up as while the carbon cycle seems fast in theory, it's actually extremely slow, taking years for carbon from rocks and sediment to enter rivers, and those rivers to carry those eons to the ocean, and this ocean to observe and release them back to the atmosphere, then back around again. But due to human activities, like for example, factory work, fossil fuel, and burning of oil, this balance has become unbalanced, forcing nearly 85% of extra carbon to enter the ocean. And according to the Earth Observatory (NASA), this imbalance causes dozens of issues for both the ocean, the people, and causes environmental issues such as rising of ocean levels, the increased amounts of air in the ocean, and damaging the marine environment in total. With all that being said, carbon dioxide is extremely important. It brings life and allows life to happen on Earth, and without it, nothing would be possible. But too much of something is dangerous, and too much of carbon dioxide is dangerous. For my project, I use a mixed method research approach. Mixed method combines both quantitative and quantitative research components. And as my project involves researching complex issues such as greenhouse gases, climate, and carbon dioxide, I need opinions from many individuals, and it will be best to choose this medium as it allows me to combine opinions and information from both sides. It also allows me to gain as much information as I can about carbon dioxide and greenhouse gas emissions. But due to the complex nature and the wideness of my question, it is easy to have a mixed form of research methodology, as found data and studies and statistics are easier to understand compared to interviews or in-depth conversations about greenhouse gas emissions. And with my chose my methodology of research into my project, it has had it allowed me to have an easier time to choose and pick what I wish to put into my research. Allowing me to add interviews from scientists, papers from scholars, and being able to mix it in a way that allows my research to be properly done. With all that being said, though, my research goal is a difficult topic to properly conclude in a manner that addresses all complex moving pieces of carbon and greenhouse gas. With carbon only increasing year by year, politics and society are doing their part to become more eco-friendly. For example, companies like Tesla and Ford, two large automobile machine companies, are producing electronic vehicles to reduce the amount of gasoline and diesel their drivers use. People are finding more ways to be more environmentally friendly by using car sharing, using apps like Uber, or simply riding bikes if they can, or simply walking to their destination if they can. And cities are making plans to build more walking friendly towns and cities to encourage walking and discourage the use of running motor vehicles. So what does this mean? Carbon and greenhouse gas are on the rise with each passing year, and by data showing it has no plans of decreasing. Large countries like China, United States, and India, the three major contributes to carbon dioxide and greenhouse gas emissions, are doing the effort to reduce the amount of carbon they release. But it's difficult to do so when factory emission is cheapest and easiest way to produce materials and make products for people. And with the Earth's high population count at the moment, especially in places like China, United States, and India, it is easier to p- produce materials using factories to drive cars from place to place, or to simply use technology that release CO2. And so, for all that being said, what can humans do to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide they produce year by year, day by day? At this point, all humans can do is be more aware of the reasons of carbon, which is the reason why being knowledgeable about this topic is extremely important. Knowing what and what does not release carbon is necessary if someone wishes to be eco-friendly and be environmentally knowledgeable about carbon dioxide, climate change, and global temperature rises. But despite all this effort to be more environmentally friendly, carbon dioxide is only on the rise each year, making it difficult to reduce the damages humans have already caused into the atmosphere. But at this point, all humans can do is be more aware of their use of carbon, how they release carbon into the atmosphere, and finding ways to be more eco-friendly. Like again before, riding bikes, supporting companies that are found to be eco-friendly, protesting for laws that are seen are found to be environmentally friendly, and support those who are trying to do their best to be more environmentally friendly for the environment instead of harming it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Kayla.
Mhm.
Um, Mr. Jekyll, if you'd like to start us off by asking a question from any of the groups there.
Yeah. So, how did you determine which results generated by your research method were the most important when it's informing like your new understanding of this?
Can you rephrase that again, please? Sorry.
Yeah. So the results that you generated by your research,
Mhm.
how did you know what was important and what wasn't important, when informing your understanding of the concept?
Um. So because greenhouse gas emissions are caused by a number of factors, like I said, the four major gases. I looked at what causes the most impact on climate change and greenhouse gas emissions, which was found to be carbon dioxide. As again before, 60% of it is within the atmosphere, and 60% of is caused by carbon dioxide. So it was easy to pinpoint what I think to find more important to discuss for my project.
All right. Thank you. Miss Maniscalco?
Hi, Kayla. How's it
Hello,
going?
I'm good and good. How are you?
Good. Nice job. How do your findings provide direction for future research? Like, how can we, because we've talked about carbon together, right? Like we've
Yeah.
gone into this a little bit together. So how do these findings help lead us into the future in the field?
Well, there, despite, sorry, there are companies and technologies being built in order to reduce carbon dioxide in the air. So so while my findings are talking the negative effects of carbon dioxide, it is helping people understand and be more aware of what the dangers and allowing people to, donate money to research funds or organizations or projects that are trying to do their best to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide in the air.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So I want you to think back to when you were trying to figure out what you were going to do your project on this year. So what would you say sparked that initial curiosity into carbon dioxide, and what might be some other curiosities that you have that you are now feel prepared to explore now that you've done this kind of research?
Well, I always liked environmental science. It's always been an interest of mine at growing up. Um, and just learning more about carbon dioxide, greenhouse gas emission was a good starting point for me to learn more about environmental science. And now with all this information done, I feel like I can do more research about, gas emissions caused by vehicles such as airplanes or buses. As I imagine you heard about Taylor Swift and her use of airplanes. I can, and I have really large interest in airplanes at the moment. So I feel with my research done, I'm able to look more into airplanes, gas emissions, and what it means in the dangers of the atmosphere.
Yeah, indeed. In fact, Mr. Jekyll and I had a conversation about
Yeah.
Taylor Swift's gas emissions at the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
All right. So one last follow-up question.
Yeah, sure.
So if you could revisit your research process for this project,
Mhm.
what might you do differently now that you're here at the end of it?
Can you rephrase that again, please?
Sure. If you had to go back and do all of this again,
Mhm.
what might you do differently the second time?
I guess is put more focus on carbon dioxide instead of the three other gases. Because at at the beginning of my research, I tried to put focus on each gas components of carbon dioxide. I mean, sorry, of gas emissions. But looking back now, I should put more focus into carbon, the effects, the dangers, and what it means instead of placing my attention on four different things.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Well, that concludes our official presentation process here. So what you're going to do